Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. I am going to demonstrate some cards today using the Simply Leaves bundle that is shown here on the screen at the moment. And I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to get on while I just make sure that I'm live. Got to do a little of the technical stuff behind the scenes here. All right, looks like I'm live. That's exciting. So I'm really excited to show you this because I love making fall and holiday cards. And this fall set just really kind of jumped out at me. But I didn't buy it at first, I think because I was partially waiting to see what was going to be in the holiday catalog. But now I bit the bullet and I bought it and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to be doing 4 cards, and I do have a couple of cards that were inspired by other ladies, and I will give them credit when we get to those cards. That's what I love about this business, is that we all love to share our stuff, and really, as long as you just kind of give credit to people, that's all they really hope for. I don't even care if you copy what I do and don't give me credit. So it doesn't bother me at all. If you just love what I do and you decide you want to make it, that's just awesome. That makes me feel great, even if I don't even know that you did it. So, but anyways, I will let you know when we get to their cards. And one of the cards, it'll be the last card I'm going to show you because it's my favorite. That is the one that actually pushed me over the edge of that I had to have this bundle. So you'll see when we get there. I'm just kind of checking to see if anybody's looking, anybody's watching, and if you are watching live, just make sure you say hello. If you watch on the replay, let me know you watched on the replay. Once I finish with all of the cards, I am going to offer an ordering special to get a free card kit where you can make 2 of each card, so 8 cards total with the envelopes. And the ordering special will be if you place a $45 order after any discounts with me before Saturday, I will send you the card kit for free. Includes the PDF instructions, which are in color. They can also be emailed to you if you prefer that I email them. I always print them, but I can also email them. And if you place a $75 order, I will also throw in a full roll of our linen thread, which we're going to use on a couple of these cards. Our linen thread is awesome for fall, Christmas, actually really any cards. I love our linen thread. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way and bring in the first card. What I love about this is it uses one of our punches. And you know, we get focused so much on using our dies that it's nice every once in a while to use a stamp set that actually uses a punch, just so that you can see how easy it is to use our punches. All right, so I'm just checking to see that I'm looking at what I'm doing on my laptop, but there's a little lag. So I just wanted to make sure that I had my mat where it was kind of in the camera view. It was in the middle. So we're going to start with this one. And this one is an original. And it's super, super simple. And that's what I loved about it, actually. So I have an envelope with all my pieces. And so we are using... There's some old olive cardstock that we're going to use that's going to be a mat, and it gets matted behind this piece of embossed white cardstock. I have already embossed it just to make the video a little quicker, but it is one of the embossing folders that comes in this set of 3 called Seasonal Cheer. So there's leaves, and I'm sure there's quite the halo because of the lighting. Apologize for that. There's candy canes, which I haven't used these yet. And then there's bats. I haven't used these yet either because I don't do a whole lot of Halloween. So the one that we're using though is the one with the leaves, and it's from the Seasonal Cheer. And I'm going to set the pieces aside so that we can jump into the stamping. I'm still trying to make sure that I'm on camera. Looks like I'm okay. Okay, and some scratch paper for the leaves. And I've already cut this piece of white cardstock that I'm going to use for the words. So we will do the words first. We are going to use Pretty Peacock. This is what I love about when we get into different like holidays and such too, is that it encourages me, I was gonna say forces me, it encourages me to use colors that I don't use all of the time. Now the stamp we're gonna use is called Thinking of You Often, but I only want it to say thinking of you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little piece of washi tape, and you can just have like whatever, you can use a post-it note as well, to kind of just cover up that often. You really could do this without covering it up, but I like to just make sure I don't accidentally ink it up, because since it's see-through and you can see what you're doing, you can actually just ink that up, which is still what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try not to get the washi tape. So we're just gonna ink that up. I'm gonna pull the washi tape off just in case I got ink on it. And then we're gonna stamp that on our white scrap paper. And I'm just gonna stamp it kind of in the middle. I just stood up quickly and my whole desk started shaking, so apologize for that. So then you see I got just thinking of you. So after we've stamped that piece, we're gonna create a banner out of it. And so I'm gonna come in, trim off the edges. And I always include these pieces like extra long, usually when I'm, you know, creating the card kits, so that you have a little room for error. And sometimes I'll even include extra pieces. There we go. Let me get those off there. Okay. Then we need to stamp some of the leaves. We're going to use Pretty Peacock again. And for that, we are using this one that has the little veins coming through it. So we're just going to ink that up. And I usually do like to do some stamping on scratch paper. So off to the side, I'm just stamping that on scratch paper once. And then I'm going to come back in. And because of the way this punches, I'm going to make sure that I stamp this on my paper the same kind of direction as the punch. Hopefully that makes sense. So that is a Pretty Peacock. And then I'm going to use Old Olive. And that is for the leaves that have the polka dots on them. Again, stamping it off on my scratch paper. I'm going to set that for a couple seconds just to make sure it spreads the ink out across the paper. I'm kind of OCD about closing my ink pads every time I use them, so apologize for that. Just what I like to do. And then we're going to use Granny Apple Green for the third one. Now, in theory, you could make these two both Old Olive, which is what I almost did, and I almost did that for the video today, but I'm going to go ahead and make it Granny Apple Green. All right, close that ink up and get it out of the way. And then we're ready to punch out our leaves. And this is what I love about our punches, is that it's so easy to line it up. I'm gonna stand up, make sure I'm in the, okay. To line up your images. It's just like our dies, but this time you're just gonna punch it with your hands. And you don't have to have the big machine to use this one. We're going to punch all 3 of them out. And just like that, we are ready to put this one together. So let me pull in my pieces here. We're going to start with a piece of white cardstock. This is our thick white. I always use the thick white when I am making the card base. I use our regular white for any of my stamping that I do. And it's cut in half, scored in half, and we're going to come in with a bone folder. Give it a good crease. It's easier to do that on the table than it is on the foam mat, but I was trying to keep the foam mat just because I feel like it makes it easier for you to see the pieces. I'm going to set that aside a minute. We've got our embossed piece of white cardstock that's going to go on our old olive. And we're going to use our Tombow glue. I should have gotten a new one before I started. This one's feeling a little light. So just the 5 dots like always. No need for any more. And then before I do the twine, I want to make sure, okay, I just want to make sure that it's cut right. You know, every time you cut, you could have like a little different length. So if this is hanging over at all, you want to trim it before you're going to add your linen thread, which I have right here. It's funny, I like our ribbons. I love how they coordinate. I don't use them as much as maybe you would think I would. But I love our twine and our threads. Like, there's just something about them that I just really like. All right, so we're going to, now normally when I send you guys card kits, I tie your bows for you, but this is one of those cards where you're gonna have to tie your own bow. So you can do it though. I know you can do it. All right, let's see. We're gonna wrap it around here a couple of times. And then we're gonna tie the bow. And before I tie the bow, I always like to tie a knot first. My linen thread's a little bit longer than it needs to be. That's okay. So I'm gonna tie my knot, and that just helps to keep the linen thread tight on this piece here. I'm gonna cut a little bit off. There we go. Now I'm ready to tie the bow, and this is just kind of needs to be centered. So we're going to come in. I'm actually going to fish this underneath here and then tie our bow. So we just create a loop just like that. I promise after a while you get really good at bows and you find that they're not so hard to do. We'll cut a little extra off here. And we're ready to add that to our card base. So again, we are going to use our Tombow glue. I'm gonna do a little bit more than normal just because of that linen thread. I just need to make sure there's enough to stick on the card base. And we're just centering that. We are going to add our leaves and our words, and I guess I needed to get, sorry, I'm gonna try not to shake the whole table. I need some more dimensionals. Those are minis. Here we go. And I always tell you that dimensionals are like my favorite embellishment. I don't know if you can really see. I have quite the stash of dimensionals because I use them a lot. So I don't ever want to run out of them. Are you a dimensional fan? Do you use them on your cards? Do you like love them, hate them? Do you use a lot of them or a little of them? Like I know some people really like to cover up what they're lifting with a lot of dimensionals. I like to just use a few. I don't think you need to like have overkill. So we're gonna just add some dimensionals on here. And just doing 2 for each of the leaves. And I made sure that I put them on top and bottom because it is gonna go over this twine. And so we wanna make sure that it's not, you don't wanna put the adhesive on the twine. It just makes it harder for it to stick. I like to kind of get an idea where things are going first. There we go. Take our backings off. One more. Our leaves are done, and then we just have to add our words. So for the words, we're actually just going to glue those down. Right across the leaves. And just like that. That's how quick and easy that card is. So that's the first card. I'm going to set those aside. And I need to clean off my stamps so that we're ready for the next round of stamps. And this is the next card we're going to make. This one was inspired by Melissa Faust. I did put her name in the description of the live. I absolutely love her cards. I definitely like seeing what she's gonna make. All right, get my stamps in here. I just realized I need one more stamp that I didn't prepare. All right, there we go. I'm gonna need that. So this is the next card. I have all my supplies ready. And so let me just start by showing you the card base is actually Pool Party. And then there is a mat that goes on top of that that is also Pool Party. And then this one, we're using the Forever Plaid embossing folder. And you're just gonna run that through and then you get that. Again, I decided to do that ahead of time just for the sake of time for this video. So let me move the card over here. You just take a peek, make sure everything looks okay over here. All right, everything looks good over there. So I do have a piece of white cardstock for the words. I just need to find where I put the words. Here we go. And we're going to use black ink on this. And honestly, you could use whatever color you want. And when I say black, I'm actually going to use Secret Sea because Secret Sea is actually one of my favorite like new blacks. It's just a little softer tone, not much, but a little. I love it. It's one of our in colors that will be available through the end of next April, and then it will retire. So if you don't own it, I highly recommend. It's a great black to have on hand. And so we're going to stamp this on our white cardstock. And when I do the kit for this one, I will make it the correct size so that you don't have to come in and cut it. But because it is a little long, I'm just going to come in and trim off the edge. So those are our words. It just says, I'm grateful for your kindness. And then we need to stamp some leaves. And pull out some more scrap paper here. I have a whole bin of just white scrap paper. I actually take a full sheet of white cardstock and I cut at 5 1/4. And then the piece that's 5 1/4, I then cut that into 2 5 1/4 by 4 inch pieces to go on the insides of my cards. And the 5 3/4, right? Yes, 5 3/4 piece that's left over goes in my scrap bin, and that's what I use for all of my scrapping, any of the scrap white pieces that I need. All right, so we are going to use the polka dots again, and we are using Old Olive for that. And we need 2 of these. So I'm going to ink this up, same as before. We're gonna make sure that we put them on here so that they're the same orientation as our punch. One. Sorry, the camera's shaking. I'll be a little more gentle. 2. And I'm okay with the fact that it didn't create the best image. I think it just makes it look more authentic. All right, so then we've got those, and then we need another one that's going to be the one with the veins in it. And we are using crumb cake for that one. Try to be gentler so the whole camera doesn't bounce. Okay. And then we need a couple of the smaller leaves. And we are going to stamp both of those using the Pretty Peacock again. We got one and the second one. And this one, wait, we're going to use this on the last card and it's going to just blow your mind. All right, so we've got all of our leaves stamped. And now, for the 2 smaller leaves, we don't have a punch for that. So we are going to have to fussy cut those. Are you team fussy cut or team not fussy cut? That is the question. All right, so we've got 1. We're just punching out the leaves that we stamped using the coordinating punch. And then the 2 smaller ones, we're gonna just fussy cut. I'm team fussy cut. I love using my scissors. And we have scissors again on our website. We were without them for a little while as we were trying to find a new provider for them because the company we were using before quit providing them for us, so we had to find another supplier. So we have them back again. So if you're looking for a pair of nice sharp scissors to do all this fussy cutting, we have them. And we're going to cut the other one. Now I like to just leave a little white edge. Some people like to come in and fussy cut right to the edge, and you could do that too. I just like having that little white edge. I think it's just a visual preference for me, but not necessarily for everybody. All right, so all of our pieces are cut and we're ready to start assembling. Making sure everything's in the camera view. Okay, and it is. So we've got all of our pieces here. And so I've got the piece of Pool Party cardstock that has been cut in half and then scored in half. And we're going to use our bone folder to give that a good crease. And because it's not a white card base, then we are going to add a white card insert that will be 4 by 5 1/4. And this is what I was trying to explain. Like I take a full piece of the cardstock, the white cardstock, and I cut it at 5 1/4. And then I take that piece and I cut it into 2 of these. This is how I maximize my paper. So then the other, just over half of the sheet of cardstock goes into my white scrap bin. I used to take a full sheet and I would cut 4 card bases out of it, but then I always had like these extra strips that were just wasted. So I switched it up a little in an effort to try to use less paper and have less waste. So we're going to take our our embossed piece, and we're going to add that. We're using the 4 dots, but just a little bit extra, if you can tell. I'm still not covering the whole thing because you just don't need to. We're going to add that to our card front. And then we have all of our leaves to add, and I'm such a visual person. Usually I lay them all, oh, see, that was the back of another, I must have didn't like the words on the back side, so I flipped it over because every sheet of paper has 2 sides. Usually I would lay all these out, but for the sake of the video, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you how you just start putting them down, and that's okay. But usually I would lay them all out, and then I would pick them up and individually start gluing them. These leaves and the pretty peacocks, so pretty. It's one of those colors. I don't use it very often unless they create a designer paper that uses that, or fall comes around because it's such a great fall color. So now our leaves are on there. So now we want to add our words using dimensionals, of course. So I'm going to just use 3 dimensionals for this. When you're peeling off the back, if you are not able to just peel it, then you can give it a little push with your nail and then it lifts it up. Or you can use our take your pick tool. I honestly just peel them with my fingers because I've been doing it for so long. I don't have any problem doing that. But I know sometimes people have a hard time getting that backing off. So there's just a couple helpful little tricks. So we got our words to put in here. Hopefully they're straight. It's hard to see when you're doing a video because you're not really looking straight on your project like you are when you're just creating, not on a video. And then we're going to add some embellishments. These are called Dewdrop embellishments. They're in our May catalog. And we're using the clear ones. We're going to use our take your pick tool to lift them up. So we've got a large one there. And a small one. And I like these so much, honestly, you could add a couple more on there if you really wanted to. These are really fun. I just like how they're just like the shine on them. And they really do kind of look like dewdrops, especially the clear ones. So that is the finished card. And again, thanks, Melissa, for the inspiration. All right, so the third card is going to be this one, and this one is one that I made, and what I wanted to show you is how you can make your own designer paper, because this stamp set doesn't really, there's not like a designer paper that coordinates with it. You know, a lot of times we have like the whole collection where you've got the designer paper and you've got the embellishments and you've got the stamp set, you got the dies, and this one doesn't. This one is just the stamp and the punch. So I wanted to show you how you could actually make your own designer paper. And you can do this with like any stamp set that you own, which is just kind of fun. So let me move all this out of the way. pull out my supplies for this card. I just cleaned my stamps off from the last card, so I'm going to, so that they're ready to go again. I'm gonna move this over here. Move all these supplies over here for now. So this card is going to be a white card base, so we won't need to put anything on the inside. And then we're gonna have this piece here is what we're gonna create our designer paper, our own designer paper. This is 4 by 5 1/4, so it's the same size that goes on the inside of your cards if needed. And then it's gonna be matted with a piece of old olive that is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. I like to mat in 1/8, but you can also mat in quarters. But I'm just kind of a fan of doing it in 1/8. I'm gonna bring in a scrap piece of paper to use. Hopefully you can still see it okay. It looks like you can still see it okay. I'm just looking at my, okay. Don't forget to say hi if you're watching. Maybe tell me where you're watching from, just to make it fun. I don't actually need this punch. I'm gonna set that aside. All right, so for this one, you can see we're just gonna do a lot of stamping. So I'm probably just gonna start with the large leaf that has the veins. And for this one, let's see what colors are down here that we're gonna need. Sorry, that's just me getting more colors out. We're using Cajun Craze. Now this is a color, honestly, that I really only use for fall cards because it's not what I would call a favorite color of mine, but it's awesome for fall cards. So we're gonna ink this up. I wonder if I move this over here. Yeah, you can still see it. Okay. And I've got this piece underneath here because we're gonna go off the edge a lot, so I don't want to get ink all over my foam mat. But we're gonna just start by randomly putting a leaf up here. And don't forget, when you put it down, let it sit for a couple seconds before you pick it back up. It allows the ink on the clear photopolymer stamp set to spread out. We're gonna add one over here. If you really wanted to make a bunch of these, another fun way to do that is to leave your white cardstock, take a full sheet and just randomly stamp on the full sheet and then cut it into 4. So it may be like if you were going to make a bunch, that might make the process go just a little bit faster. Just a little helpful hint. Okay, and then let's do, I need pumpkin pie is going to be our next color. And we're using the smaller leaf that has like the dotted veins. And again, you're just looking to randomly stamp these. I'm using my card as the sample so that it kind of looks the same. But there's no right or wrong to this. Like none of your cards are going to be the same, no matter how hard you try. You could never actually make these the same. I say that as though that's a challenge. All right, that's our pumpkin pie. The next color we need, we're gonna do the other small, actually let's do the large polka dot leaves. So for this one, we're gonna use Old Olive. So this one comes in off the corner down here. And just remember, you have to ink it up every time. One more up here. actually gonna leave the old olive out because we're gonna need it again in a minute. But for now, then we're gonna go, the next one we're gonna go to is this smaller stamp that's checkered, like a plaid stamp, and we're using Golden Glow. Now, this is one of our new ink pads. So this base is linen, where these are foam. And I don't know if you can really tell the difference, but you can in person. So with our linen ink pads, which I can't wait, eventually all our ink pads are going back to linen. Instead of tapping, you actually want to maybe give it like a little gentle smush side to side, and then you tap. It's just a different base that you're working with, so it just requires it to be a little different. Ooh, is that not the right color? Well, we're going with it. I thought this was the color. Now I'm perplexed. It's not the right color. I wonder what color I used. I guess it's possible I used daffodil or crushed curry, but we're sticking with this. See, no two cards will ever be the same. And this is why when I create cards, I should write this stuff down. All right, that's for that. So we're gonna put that ink pad away. And the last stamp is going to be this little veiny stamp. And just stuck my finger in the ink pad. This just gets randomly kind of fills in everywhere where it needs to be filled in. Again, there's no rhyme or reason, there's no right or wrong. You're just looking to fill it in. You don't want to have like a ton of white space left on your card. Voila. So that is what your new designer paper looks like. And again, you can mix and match any colors. You could make this any color you want it to be. You could use a lot of the same colors. You could stamp off, so you could get two different tones of the Cajun Craze. I'm gonna need this again, so let me set this aside. And I need a scrap of old olive, which I don't have out, so let me get that out. Here we go. A scrap of old olive, because the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do this leaf, and we're gonna use the stamp that we just used with the veins. And we're gonna stamp it on here like so. And then we're gonna use our punch to punch it out. You could also punch it out first and then stamp if you wanted to. I'll show you what I mean. So you could come in and actually just punch your leaf out. And then you could come in with your stamp, which is actually how I think I did it the first time. You come in with your stamp, line it up. Voila. Now we just need to add the words, which we are going to use the thanks. And then we're going to use black again, which I'm going to use my secret C. It's like my secret black, I guess you could call it. Stand up so I can see what I am doing. Thanks. Now we're ready to put this one together. And actually, I think we're going to be done with this punch, so I'll close it up, but I'll leave it sit there. And bring in all my pieces. So this one's going to go together pretty quickly. It's pretty easy to assemble. we're just going to mat our new designer paper that we created on top of our old olive. Five dots. It's really all you need. And then we're going to add that to our card front, which I need to do a quick crease with my bone folder. So 5 dots of glue here. And what I love about this is it's minimal amount of supplies, really. There's not like a ton of layering and die cutting, and then we're going to, this is going to go, we're going to use dimensionals to put this in our card. So I'm going to go ahead and put a few dimensionals on the back of here. And then we need to tie our bow. And you could do this one of two ways. You could actually just tie the bow and use a glue dot to put it on the leaf, on the stem of the leaf. But I'm actually going to tie it around, oh my gosh, it's not cooperating, around the leaf. Just because I just like how it looks like that. So we tie the knot first, and we come back and we just tie the bow. For the sake of the to-go kit, the free kit that you can get, I will tie the bows for you so that all you have to do is glue dot them on there. Just because I know it's easier that way. Cut off the extra. And we're ready to put that on the front of our card. So this is just really simple. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of stamping, but the stamping goes fast. So what a fun and simple card to give people, like during the holidays. When you're gathering, take a hostess gift with it. It's just really fun. So that was an original. So now we're going to get to the last card. And this is the card that was the whole reason I bought the stamp set. Because look at that. Is that not just awesome? I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Now, this one was created by Owl Star Stampers. And for the life of me, I didn't write down her actual name. And I know it. It's like on the tip of my tongue because I follow her quite a bit. I want to say it's Michelle, but now I'm going to feel bad if I'm wrong. But when I saw this card, I was like, okay, I have to have the stamp set. Have to have it. I had held off for quite a while, and I was like, nope, gotta have it. Because it's really hard. We get a lot of new product that comes our way, and it's hard sometimes to decide what you want to order and what you don't want to order, and also just to not order everything. There was a time when I used to order everything. I would literally be like, okay, I want to order everything that's new. And then there was just a lot of times where I was just never had time to actually use it all. So I kind of learned in my last 20 years to not purchase it all at once, but to wait until I've used it to continue purchasing more, if that makes sense. So for this one, just getting the ink pads that I need out. We are using, for the words, we're actually going to use Early Espresso, which how fun is that? I haven't used that in a while. And we're not using this punch, so I'm actually going to just set it a little bit out of my way. And I'm going to go ahead and move this card over and pull out all of my supplies. So for this one, it is another white card base. And on top of that, we have a piece of our Golden Glow. I wanted to say honey. Golden Glow. It just reminds me of honey for some reason. And it is 4 by 5 1/4, and I ran it through the embossing machine with the same embossing folder from earlier, the Forever Plaid. That's a good one to have on hand, like when you just need kind of a generic background. So it is going to get matted onto a piece of Early Espresso. We'll set that aside for later. And then I have a piece of white cardstock that's going to go on another piece of Early Espresso, and this is going to be for stamping our saying. So we'll start with that. Get out my Early Espresso. And I feel like I need to pull this stuff down a little, maybe not. There we go. We are using the I'm grateful for your kindness. We're going to just stamp that in the bottom right hand card. I think this was the only thing I changed from the original card I was that I was inspired by. I decided to use this saying instead. So we have that. We'll set that aside. We don't need that. We don't need the Early Espresso anymore. Now I need some scrap paper because we are going to stamp and fussy cut quite a bit. So we're going to start with Peaceful Pine, which is one of the new in colors. And we're going to use the veiny smaller leaf. And we need 2 of those. Oh, don't like that one. Need to be patient. Don't lift it up right away. That's much better. Okay. And then we're going to use the Golden Glow. And hopefully I got this right. Well, it has to be because that's the color cardstock. So we're going to stamp, and we need 5 of these. Uh-oh, did I not cut out my little circle? I need one more. So one more little piece. All right, so our stamping is done. I'm just looking at, I think I forgot to cut out a piece. Nope, it's in there. There we go. I'm usually pretty good about having all the pieces in there. So we're gonna do a little fussy cutting. So bear with me because this will take a minute. I don't like that one, so we're just gonna cut out all of these leaves so that we can create our flower. I'll try to go as fast as I can so that we get this video over with. Thank you if you're still watching, or if you've come back to watch on replay, thank you. I'd love it if you tell me what you think. It's always inspiring to see what you think about the projects, even if you don't like them, or if you think maybe different colors. Like, I'm always open for suggestions. I just knew though I had to make this card. Like, as soon as I ordered this, after seeing this card, and then as soon as the stamp set, as soon as my order got here, it was like the first thing I did was went on and copied this card because it's just so adorable. And I love it because it teaches you to think outside the box. You know, sometimes I think we have a hard time seeing how you can use stamp sets for other possibilities. Like, who would have ever thought to come up with making a flower out of the leaves? But of course, somebody did. And that was all it took for me to say I have to have that. All right, getting close. 4 more to go. If you're not a big fan of fussy cutting, I'd say just keep giving it a try, because it's just fun. Like, they could have, made a whole die set for this so that we'd have dies to cut out both sizes, or they could have made it a dual punch, but to make it a dual punch would have just cost more. So if you can just do your own cutting, it just makes it a little more affordable, which is always a bonus. All right, we got 3 more to go. I'd say I'm doing this pretty fast. Oops, got a little close there. That's all right. 2 more. I can hear my husband in the kitchen making his lunch. He works from home, so when I do lies, I just shut the door so that I don't disturb him when he's on his conference calls. And we got 1 more to go, and then we're ready to put it together. So, I mean, seriously, how fun is this? There we go. There's all of our pieces. So now we are going to put our flower together, and to do so, I'm going to move this out of the way for a minute. We're going to use our silicone mat. I love using this when I'm gluing pieces together so that I don't get the adhesive anywhere else. And so I'm going to actually just start placing these pieces kind of how I want them. Just trying to get an idea of where I want everything to go to create our flower. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take, I have cut out of Early Espresso, I have cut out a super small circle. Oh my gosh. And of course it is from our Stylish Shapes dies, which is one of my favorites. This is the one I always tell you, if you don't have it, you really should get it, because you can use it for everything. We've had it for a while. I actually anticipate at some point it's going to go away. So this one, I'm going to put a decent amount of glue on the back side of that, so that I can just glue it to my flower leaves, flower petals that are made out of leaves. And the hope is that the glue is going to pick up all 5 pieces. But we're going to let it sit for just a second. All right. I just want to give it a chance to stick together. Then we're going to add a drop of glue on just the stem of this leaf. And we're going to bring it in. Set it behind there. We're going to do the same on the other leaf. And come in and set it behind here. And now what we've done is any kind of adhesive mess that we have behind this flower is all on this silicone pad, and it's not on my desk and it's not on my foam mat. So I'll set that aside for just a minute while I get out my pieces for the card, and we'll start putting that together. So we're going to adhere this piece of white cardstock that has our saying on it to our Early Espresso mat. And if you're watching and you're interested, I'll just tell you the white piece is 4 by 3. So then the Early Espresso piece is 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. So then we're going to adhere our embossed piece. Sometimes with this embossed piece I add just a tiny bit more glue. It's still in the corners, it's still not the whole thing, but I just want to make sure it gets in the little nooks and crannies. We're going to adhere that. So that is 4 by 5 1/4. We're adhering it to a piece of Early Espresso that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And we have our white cardstock out of our white thick cardstock for our base. That's half of a sheet that's also scored in half. going to get a little low on glue. That's okay. Our 5 dots there. Add our other mat. Again, 5 dots. And I'm not looking at it. I need to lift it up so I can make sure it's straight. It is. Because again, I'm looking at this from the side more from the top. Like I'm not really looking at it from the top. So it just makes it a little more challenging. And then we're going to take our flower and flip it over and add some dimensionals on the back side to adhere it to our card front, so it pops the flower right off of the front of the card. We're gonna go ahead and just put this over here like that. And we just have one more thing to add, which would be our embellishments. So for this card, we are using our 2026-2028 in colored dots. They were introduced in the May catalog, but they will go for the full year. And we are using our Take Your Pick tool to come in. We're going to use a large one down here, and then another large one. We're gonna change it up just a little bit, just because my flower's kind of in a different place. So there we go. If you place the order and you get the free card kit, you will get enough of the embellishments to make your 2 cards. You will get all the pieces you need. It just doesn't include stamped images or inks because of copyright issues. We're not allowed to include those pieces. So that is the 4th card. Let me move this out of the way. We'll just do a little like recap of all 4 cards. And one more. I mean, how fun were they? Let me see if they're actually all in the view. Probably go up a little bit. There we go. So again, this was using the Simply Leaves stamp set and the coordinating punch. It's a bundle that you can purchase. I hate that halo. And the bundle is $45, which is why I set the order special. If you place a $45 order after discounts, you're going to get the card kit in the mail sent to you for free. You're going to get all the supplies to make 2 of each card, and you'll get the instructions, and it will include all of the ink colors and everything that we used on the cards. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment. I'll be sending out my newsletter within hopefully the next hour or so with all the details on the ordering special. So if you don't get my newsletter, comment below in the comments, say newsletter, and I'll send you a message to get your email from you so that I can add you to my newsletter. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful Wednesday. Thank you so much.